again. It's been a while since my last video, and honestly, fused glass videos take me a really long time to make. My kiln's not very big, so when I have something that's this large, it takes me about a week to finish, and then the editing of the video and putting it all together, it really takes me a long time. For the past couple of years, I've also been doing, along with fused glass, I've been doing stained glass. And I was wondering if any of you would be interested in an introduction to stained glass video. Those videos would take a lot less time to make because there's no kiln time involved. So I would really love to hear your ideas or your thoughts on seeing some stained glass videos as well. So let's get on to today's project. This project is a 3-tier dessert tray, and it was inspired by an afternoon tea that I had with my 11-year-old daughter a few weeks ago. So she and I went to this lovely place in historic Leesburg in Northern Virginia, and we had tea, and they brought us dessert in a 3-tiered dessert tray, not this one. And so when I came home, I was like, I need to make one. The hardware is really what pulls it all together, and it's not difficult to find. I found it on Amazon, and I'll link it in the description box below. So we're going to make the exact same design on each one, and I went with something very simple, and I find that it makes it look very delicate and refined. So I painted some enamels on each layer using the same pattern, and we'll go through on how to make these and then how to assemble the whole project. So let's start. For this project, I'm going to be using 3mm clear Tecta and 3mm white Tecta. And I'm going to cut 3 pieces out of each type of glass, a 4x4 inches, 6x6 inches, and 8x8 inches. So 6 pieces in total, 3 clear and 3 white. Now that I have all my glass cut, I have my 4x4, my 6x6, and my 8x8. I'm going to start painting my design. So I decided to go with a dainty floral design. So I took that design and I printed it out in scaled in 3 different sizes. One for my 4x4, one for my 6x6, and one for my 8x8. And I'm just going to paint it in one corner of my piece. Before I start painting, I'm going to make sure that I clean the piece off, both pieces, and then I'm going to place the design between the two so it lays flat, and I'm going to paint it in with my enamels. And then once I'm done, I remove the sheet. The enamels I'm using today are new enamels that I recently purchased. They're from Unique Glass Colors, and they're called NT colors, and I have them in, for this project, I got burgundy, bright white, no, not this one, dark green, leaf green, gold dust, and mauve. And I usually mix my enamels on a piece of glass, and I use a bit of water and an enamel medium, which is the Clearfire. So I'm just adding the final few embellishments here. And you'll notice that my painting is not exactly what the image underneath it is, because I was just really using the image as a guideline to figure out where I wanted all my elements to go. But of course, you're free to do whatever you want. Once the enamel is dry, I'm going to take it to the kiln for a full fuse. And usually I like to fuse to 1490, but this time I'm only going to go to 1425. These enamels fire optimally between 1425 and 1550. So I'm only taking it to 1425. And I'll show you after it comes out of the kiln why I decided to go with the lower temperature. So this is our 6mm piece out of the kiln. I really love how the enamels came out. And you'll see when I was painting the flower, I kept adding white as I was going towards the outside of the flower, so it's darker on the inside and lighter on the outside. So the reason I went with a lower temperature is because you look at these corners here, they're not as rounded as if I had gone with a higher temperature. I'll show you a side-by-side comparison with another 6x6 piece that I made, and you'll recognize our friend here, the bee's knees, from another project that I've made. And you'll see how rounded these corners are, much more rounded, whereas when we're firing at a lower temperature, we're keeping the shape of the glass a bit more. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want these rounded, and the piece ends up a bit thicker because it's contracting the higher the temperature is. And this one keeps its shape better. So this is the hardware we're going to use to complete our project. So this piece here will go into the top tier, and this one will go between the top and the middle, and this one will be between the middle and the bottom piece, and then the final bottom piece will be secured with this screw going in from the bottom, and then we have all these little washers that will go in between each layer. So we're going to have to drill a hole in the center of this to allow for these, and I'm going to do it before I slump my piece, because it's easier to drill a hole in a piece that's completely flat. It's easier to find the hole, like find the center on a piece that's completely flat. Slumping should not distort the hole. We could always shove some fiber paper in the hole to make sure that it doesn't get distorted during the slumping phase. And if there are any changes, we could always re-drill or perfect the hole after the fact. So as this is a square piece, it's very simple to find the center. So I'm just going to go corner to corner, X here, and corner to corner, X, and X marks the spot of where we're going to drill our hole. I'm going to go over my X with this pen because it's more water resistant than Sharpie. Sharpie will wash off in the water, and as we're drilling glass, we have to do so in the water. You should never drill glass without having water circulating with your drill, because it will heat up your piece without the water. Water adds lubrication to the drilling process, and also doesn't allow for glass particles to go everywhere and for you to breathe them in. I have my piece in a tub with a piece of styrofoam underneath and some water. And if I press it down, the water covers the piece. The reason I put styrofoam down here is for when I go through the piece, I don't hit the bottom of my tub, and the shock might break the piece and I've ruined my tub. So to avoid that, I put a piece of styrofoam, so that's what we'll hit once we've gone through. I have a diamond bit on my Dremel. I'm going to start with a smaller hole and work my way up. You always start drilling at an angle and then bring your hand straight up. So I've gone through, and I'm just going to work on making my hole bigger. The hole is drilled to the correct size. You'll see the hardware fits nicely in there without being too tight, because you don't want your screw to be, you don't want to force it in too tightly because it will break your glass. Really, these threads here are not for the piece of glass, but for it to thread into the other piece. And that's where your snugness is going to come in with the washers. So this piece is going to be ready for slumping now. Now that our 3 sizes are completely fused and all our enameling is done, and I've pierced holes in all of them, it's time to slump. So the first thing I'm going to do, just to ensure that our holes don't get distorted, is I'm going to take a piece of fiber paper and tightly roll it up. Take a piece and put it in the hole so we don't distort the hole. And I'm going to do this for all 3. So this is the slumping mold I'll be using. This one is the Square Slumper A, and this one is the Square Slumper B from Bullseye. They're basically the same, but in 2 sizes. So I'm going to use the larger one for the 8-inch and the smaller one for the 6-inch and the 4-inch. And I'm going to be following Bullseye's firing schedule for this. Okay, so all my plates have come out after they've been slumped, and my holes didn't get distorted. I tried them out after I was done with the screw, and they're all fine. So no rework needed, and none of them cracked or broke or had any issues. So that was great. Every time I opened the kiln, I was a little afraid I'd find a big crack in the middle of like a big crack going this way because of the hole, but no, it worked out fine. So here we are, the 3 of them. So now we can start assembling. And so I showed you these pieces of hardware before in the video earlier, and I got these it's a 9-pack that I got from Amazon, and you get 3 gold ones, 3 silver ones, and 3 black ones, and there's multiple
iterations of these, so I'll put a link below, so if you want to try it out, you can see where what to get. We're going to start on the bottom and work our way up. So the first thing we're going to do is take this screw, put the metal washer through, and then one of the softer white washers. Put it in. Flip this over. Now these two are identical pieces, so it doesn't really matter which one I grab. Put a washer here, one of the soft. So now I have this screw part that's going to screw in. So now I'm going to, keeping my hand underneath to hold the screw in place, I'm going to screw this in. And again, you want to tighten it, but not too much, because too much pressure will crack the glass. So now you'll see, now that this screw is in, it's a little unstable. So I have these little sticky feet, and they come in various shapes and sizes. I have square ones and I have round ones, and I could also put the descriptions for those below. And just because my dishes are square, I'm going to put the square ones. And what that's going to do, it's going to add a little bit of height on the back, and also cushion the bottom of the piece. So I'm going to try to put them. Ideally, I would have put them before I put the screw in, but I wanted to show you what happens if you don't put these on. So that helped with stabilizing the piece a little better with the feet underneath. And so we're going to put another white washer here. And what I want to do is to have all my flowers on the same side. So I'm going to put this here. And I decided to go with the gold tone on this because I have some of the embellishments in my enamel have a gold sheen to them. Put this part. And then finally, the last one. Okay.
There you have it. Our project is complete. Having added the little legs on the bottom makes it a little more stable than it was with just a screw. I love how these patterns really go well together, and the alignment of everything. Making it square makes everything align a little better than using round pieces of glass. But of course, you could do whatever design you want. And if you do try this project, I would love to see what you came up with. You could always tag me on your Instagram or Facebook posts. I would love to see what you come up with. I'll leave you with a few pictures, and I'll see you next time.